Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Spiritual Connection Show. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn. So I'm the spiritual head of the Transformation Center CT, which is located in Westport, Connecticut. And I am a transformation coach. I'm a shamanic practitioner, I'm a spiritual energy healer. And, at the center, we do a variety of things. We have workshops and classes. We're having sound baths actually in the backyard when the weather's nice. We do that. So I'm going to put up the contact info and you can check that out. Yeah, so it's transformationcenterct.com. And that has all of our events. There's an event calendar. There's more information about what we do. So the easiest thing to do is just go to the website and check it out. You can also reach us via email, or that's the phone number for calling or texting. Yeah, so that's great. So thanks everybody for being here today. As you know, the Spiritual Connection Show is all about connection, which is one of my core values. So I'm really happy that we're able to spend this time together. And I want you to really tune in to your own spiritual nature while you're meeting my new guest that I have tonight. Every week we have a different guest, and the idea is for you to really learn from them about their journey, how they got to where they are, and anything that they offer for you to learn about. Great. So I'm really excited today to welcome my guest, Sue Maisano. Welcome to the show, Sue.
Thank you, Katie, for inviting me. I'm super excited to share my story with everyone. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Thanks for being here. So I haven't met Sue in person yet. I hope to one day. She lives in Connecticut as well. And we were introduced by a mutual friend. And Sue is a spiritual life coach, and she's really committed, to helping everybody reclaim their inner power. We're going to learn more about that. She's also the author of 2 books, and the titles of those books are The Healing Journey and The Nature of Mind Realities. And both of those are available on Amazon. And I'm going to put up her contact info with her website so you can get in touch with her. Yeah, so the name of the book is The Nature of Mind Realities. Her website is mindrealities.com. So you can check that out and look into it. And you can email her at that email address or call her or text her at that phone number. So we'll show that towards the end of the show as well. Meanwhile, I'm excited to start our conversation, Sue. So I really don't know too much about you yet, which is great. So first of all, I always ask my guest, the first question is, just tell us a little bit about your spiritual journey, how you got to where you are, anything you want to share about that.
So my spiritual journey started very early on when I grew up as a poor Chinese village girl in rural China. I was born at a age where girls were despised upon, and I always had the sense that there's more to life than what meets the eyes. And despite my effort, I was average in everything. And I had a great ambition and made it to one of the top universities in China. While I was studying there, I realized that to have a brighter future, I have to come to America. So I had 3 months to prepare for everything. All my fellow students, their classmates, they were preparing for, since they were like a few years old, and there was me knowing nothing, and I didn't know what it took. I just studied really hard for the test. And 3 months later, my score actually came out horrible. I felt that the bubble of hope bursted. And at that moment, I made a promise to myself. My promise is I would not blame myself, even if I fail. So I see a lot of my friends, they gave up on their dreams and seek an easier path. I was the only one persisted, and I was laughed at for someone who does not qualify to have such a great ambition. And next thing I knew, I was connected to a US professor. It was out of the blue. I just said, she said she was coming to China in 2 weeks and would like to see me. that's when I realized, there is a higher help. They're listening to you. They're helping you. They're invisible help. So after the conversation with the American professor, she did say I had a horrible score. I didn't qualify, things like that. I needed to work hard. So for the following year, I was in contact with her, and because her school is very small, and they have like one or maybe two international students every year. And that year I applied, they decided not to get any international students. So so I thought, okay, I accepted. Now I accepted failure, because I don't have any other way anymore. So I put I burned the ships. There's no alternatives. And then past the deadline of they're supposed to give me an offer, I didn't have any offer. And the professor reached out to me and said, we decided not to get any international students. But if you have any way to come anyway, if you come with a husband or if you're accepted to any other school, come to my lab, I will train you. I said, she's so generous. This one person completely changed my life. And I said, there's no other way because first off, I don't have a husband. Second, your school was the only school I applied because I saw how she understood my story, my ambition. And I knew for my background, where I'm coming from, and with a horrible score, I couldn't get anywhere else. And plus, she's the only one I wanted to join because she understood me. So 2 weeks later, I got an acceptance letter from the school. They said, suddenly they have one opening for one international student.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, because the Chinese students usually apply for 20 to 30 schools, and I was the only one who only applied for one school. Like my goal was very direct, very determined. That's when I realized that when there is a will, there is a way. I have so many rejections. The professor said I did not qualify. And then the school said they're not accepting any international students. And despite all the, so against all odds, I made it. So that's when I start to realize, okay, it's not me. There is someone helping me. I didn't know who or how. Things just happened through synchronicities because as I needed help to reach out to a US professor, she was there. It was like a godsend. You don't even know why. And things just happen. And also the opening of a position for me, that was also a miracle. So years later, in 2006, I had a spiritual experience where I had met my spirit guide who, revealed my life purpose. And things began to make sense, like how is in my path. I needed to come here and further my personal growth that connect all the dots for me. So it was at a moment of self-realization. Oh, I'm not alone here. I'm not trying to struggle all by myself. There's someone listening, watching every step I take, protecting me, guiding me. They're invisible. So I asked my spirit guide, what am I here to do? He said that you are to heal people. I said, how can I heal people? Before I finished asking the question, he said, meditation. He said, you have to use meditation. So that was, I felt a tremendous sense of love and trust in me. That was overpowering. And I felt the connection of to everyone and everything, even the nature, the rocks, and I felt the oneness, why we are here to help each other progress as a group. So
Yeah.
that's where I led to my current understanding. That's my spiritual journey. That's why I wrote my books, to spread the knowledge and empower others.
Wow, that is so beautiful, Sue. It really, I mean, it speaks to my heart because, I believe the same thing. And I similarly, had that calling. So, but it is remarkable how you were able to turn around every time you got a negative response. You were able to turn that around until the universe, gave you what you came here for.
Yeah, another thing that driven me was growing up, my mom always had depression. She had suicidal thoughts. And when I was very little, 3 years old, she had a strange dream of kind of like a ghost coming to her and warning her of pending doom. And she got sick. It was a mystery. The medical system couldn't detect, but she was struggling. She was dying. And in the hospital, she jumped off the third floor of the hospital.
Oh gosh.
I was only 3 years old, and she fractured her entire body. And we were struggling financially. My dad was an elementary school dropout. So that also motivated me because from a young age, I saw how suffering looked like, and I didn't like it. It was from a very young age, I had to show my mom that life was worth living. There's hope. Even though I couldn't see hope, I had to show her there's hope. So several times I have to chase after her because I didn't want her to commit suicide. So from a young age, I wanted to help people relieve that, that pain, that emotional pain, internal, unspeakable pain. So that's what driven me to first I studied science, studied biology, but then I begin to realize it's not in any, it's not structural, it's emotional, mental, it's spiritual. So that's what led me to, give up on science and study the mind instead.
Yeah. So it's actually a beautiful combination, right? So you use both of those disciplines in your work now, the science background as well as your spirituality background.
Yeah, the science definitely helps, especially the discipline involved and the understanding of the human body. And also realizing there's a deeper, way beyond the material plane, and there's deeper meanings of like our emotions is like an environment for ourselves, so our body. It's not about the body, it's the body, mind, and spirit alignment, all three.
Yeah, no, exactly, because one affects the other, and yeah, absolutely. So when you say you're a spiritual life coach, who are your typical people that you work with right now?
It's people who have the inner calling. There are a group of people who felt that there's way more than the structured religion, and they want to have a deeper understanding of who they are what they're here to do. And there's also people who want healing, who want to get past from their past, have freedom. Um, those sorts of things. It could be anything related because there's so many
Right.
things that affected by the mind. Is how we perceive things determine how things turn out to be. So based on your past experiences, how you grew up, maybe there's some embedded thoughts that affecting your emotions right now. For example, I had clients who responded very badly at work, bad tempers. But digging deeper, we found out that because in his childhood, his parents divorced very early. He was 8 years old, and there was a fight, brutal, and he was scared. And at that moment, he had a strong negative emotion that's embedded to his mind, that feeling was nobody's going to take care of me. And that feeling, it never goes away until you let it go. So from 8 years onwards, and the recent events will be over exaggerated reaction to co-workers, for example. But there is that deeper inner meaning of everything. That emotion is like the chain of a necklace, the string of a necklace, and the life events are like each individual pearls, and they are connected by the string. So what is connecting all these life experiences are our emotions, how you felt as a child, even before birth, that may have imprinting on your mind that manifest into how you react to things. So yeah, so it's very, very profound. When I learned that, it was amazing how the mind actually has no time. It transcends time. So when you're 5-year-old, maybe some very strong emotions still buried there, and in your current circumstance, it may manifest to certain behaviors. So behind the certain behavior is that emotion, and we need to let go of finding the source of that emotion. What is the triggering event initially, and remove that. So that's have a permanent healing that way.
Yeah. No, it really is. It's fascinating. And I think once people become aware that that's how it works, it just like opens so many possibilities for people, to let go of those. It's the emotion that creates the belief. What I what is a limiting belief that the emotion caused, and then you're living as though that belief is true, like it's real, but it's really not, right?
Yeah. So all of us may have some undesirable childhood experiences that buried in the mind, have certain beliefs embedded in the mind and carried with us, and determine how we respond to things. So it's super fascinating. And sometimes it manifests as a terminal cancer, for example. This happens a lot in children, or when they were children, or when they were in the mother's womb, overhearing the parents talking about a potential abortion, for example. All these things, because we are consciousness, and it's inside our entire body, not just, it's beyond the birth, it's there. So you are eternal. All your past experiences, your current state of mind is the summation of all your past, is imprinted to your now. And the traumatic experience, if it happened earlier, is like casting a flashlight onto an object. The closer the light is to the object, the bigger the shadow is. So that happens. Actually, there's studies of patients who is terminal cancer, and regress them back to the womb. They have a traumatic experience, overhearing the parents talk about, potential abortion, or the child had the feeling that I'm not wanted, I'm not loved, I'm not deserving. Anytime that sense is embedded into their mind, maybe time goes on, temporarily they forget about it, and the initial event they forget. But later it may manifest and show up in their life as certain conditions. So all these have consequences that may come from early childhood experiences.
Right. And we're not conscious of them in our conscious mind. It's more
it's
buried in the unconscious or the subconscious mind.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, speaking of consciousness, I know you like to talk about the levels of consciousness.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that, how that can help us by knowing about that.
So there are 4 levels of consciousness that determines how we react to our environment, how we deal with people, what our relationships are like. So the first level, the 4 levels of consciousness is represented by 4 different animals. The first level is a serpent. They are sizzling, on the ground, slithering on the ground. They are revengeful. They are an eye for an eye. This is most people are on this level, very reactive. If you're driving on a highway, someone flipping your finger and you're going to be really upset, you're triggered. So you're triggered that way. You're very reactive. That's the keyword, reactive. That's the serpent level, low on the ground. The second level is the jaguar. Now the jaguar represents the intellect. Now at this level of consciousness, you have reasoning and logic. You put reasoning and logic into your understanding of everything around you. Now, if someone like flip a finger at you, instead of being triggered, okay, this person is being aggressive to me, you have a different interpretation. You will think, oh, what happened to that person made him feel or her act that way. So you switch truths. You can somehow see from their perspective and see that that's their problem, not your problem. So unlike the first level, you're reacting. When you are reacting, you are actually internally agreeing to whatever other people's behavior. If they flip a finger, you accept the meaning that you are bad or some bad interpretations. Without agreeing to that, you will not react, right? So on the second level, yes, you can see from their perspective, oh, maybe there is something wrong with them or something like that. So that's the second level. You have huge improvement. The third level is hummingbird. Now the hummingbird is rising up higher. At this level, you see everything as a meaning, as a symbol for you. For example, here you can see synchronicities that you can recognize, oh, that's a symbol for me. That means I need to do this. So you begin to see the deeper meaning behind the surface. So that's also a huge improvement in the second level. Now, the fourth level is eagle. Now the eagle is flying up high, looking down everything, have a bird eye view of everything, but it's not involved. You don't get involved with everything. So you're above and beyond the physical level. Now here, you see the truth. You see things as is. Now here, the duality cease to exist. You don't see things as good or bad. It's all good. Like there is no dividing things to good and bad, black and white. That type of division that we use. Now here, it's like the Jesus level. When Jesus, I'm not, into this, very familiar with the Bible, but when Jesus was crucified, he does not react people, who killed him. He loved those people. So that is the level of the ego, the highest level of consciousness. You do not react. You see everything as good. You see everyone as good. There is no division of good and bad anymore. Everything is just is. So that's the highest level of consciousness. Whatever level you are in, you will react in a certain way. So by judging by your own behavior and your emotions, you can tell which level you are. And when you rise up higher in consciousness, what was the problem before will start to dissolve. You don't have those problems anymore. You transcend. You begin to transcend everything. You can accept everything. Nothing can trigger you anymore. You start to experience inner peace. Like right now, how hectic the world is, you can still find the inner peace and accept the what is. So that's the 4 levels of consciousness.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's a beautiful description, and I think it's so meaningful for people to understand that, and then and they can grow, because I think that's part of it, that it's about evolving and growing. And so what do you think is the best, I'm sure there are many, but what are some of the best ways to go from one level to the next level?
Number one is to recognize which level you are operating from, and recognize the moments when you have an emotion, recognize your level of consciousness. So the first step is recognition. The second step is accept the situation as is. Stop labeling, this is good, this is stressful, this is good, or that is bad. Just be open to anything and everything. So yeah, so recognize, accept, and open up. Now you begin to open up your mind to accept everything. So yeah, do not have a tight grip. Things have to go this way, or if not, I'm going to react or upset. So be like a child again, be curious, just simply observe, say, oh, that's what happened to me on my journey to America too, is so many times I see opportunities ending. I felt like my bubble of hope bursted. First, after the initial shock, I always ask my question of, I wonder. That's a great question to ask yourself. I wonder what would happen so my goal will be achieved. I wonder how things are going to change so my goal is achieved, my desire is achieved. So when you ask yourself an open-ended question like that, you open up the possibilities to accept. You're also being an observer, not you're good for everything. Anything can come, accept everything. Yeah, so that you can go up higher levels in your understanding. You know, the physical life we are living in, I know it's very stressful. Sometimes things don't go the way we wanted. This is Earth School. We decided to come here and progress because this is the toughest playground, and here we can progress the most. So use this as an opportunity, and whatever comes along in your life, use it as a lesson. See the lesson in everything. So that can really help you progress to the next level.
Yeah, that's a really great way of describing that. And what a beautiful way to end, because we're just about out of time. But I love that. This is Earth School. We're here to learn, accept what is. I mean, those are beautiful lessons. And also what I love about you and your story is like the total lack of judgment. You know, there's no judgment, there's no blame. You know, you could have judged yourself or others. You didn't. You accepted it and you moved on and you reached your goals. That's just such a beautiful lesson. So I'm just going to share your contact info again so people can reach out to you. They can go on your website. I think you have a little video that shows pretty much a summary of what we talked about with the levels of consciousness. You can reach Sue at her website, her email, or her phone. And thanks again for being on the show. So it was really wonderful to meet you, and all the best to you on your journey. And I look forward to meeting you in person too.
Me too. Such a pleasure to be on your show, Katie. I cannot wait to meet you in person.
Yeah. All right. Same here. Take care.
Take care, everybody.
Okay. Bye-bye.